gonna take Pastor Josh through this process, and we're gonna do it, Blake doesn't know this yet, but we're gonna do it a different way,
Let's
because
hear for the ride.
if we, in this coaching session, if, I'm gonna kinda help you remember, your experiences in life usually, normally, are what, ignite your passion, okay? And I could give you example after example. Manuel, he was raised by his grandparents, and so he loved elderly people, and that was a people group that he was passionate about ministering to. Another gentleman that went through place, abortion affected their family, so he was very passionate to be somehow be able to minister through or help the crisis pregnancy centers. He had a real passion for that. And so life experiences really affect your passion to minister. So when you're looking and taking a person through this process, you just, you want to talk to them. How did you feel about the place process? Are you good? And they're really nervous. People are really nervous about this coaching session.
Man, that was perfect.
You're not even acting, you're for real, huh?
And so, it's for the edification, okay? So we just, we talk about, look at and say, okay, so Pastor Josh, you have, your dominant personality is I. How do you feel about that? You're inspiring.
The hard part right now is I can't remember a lot of things.
Okay. So you enjoy being around people. This personality says that you are usually just real outgoing or real people-oriented, personable. People can communicate with you and you can communicate with people.
I do remember, and I know it made more sense for me as we looked at how this taught into these, but on the personality type, it kind of took me by surprise because I'm naturally a very shy and fearful person, so I don't like conversation.
Okay.
But as far as in ministry and things, like I'm bigger on I love to have the kids over to the house, and like the relationship side of things. And when I get close to somebody, it's very easy for me. And I am outgoing in the sense that my natural tendency is to be kind of playful or goofy. But as far as like someone trying to catch me now a one-on-one conversation at church or like at big church, I'm trying to get out of the conversation as fast as I can because I'm very uncomfortable.
And with students and stuff, though, you're much more comfortable and much more outgoing.
This is going to sound bad as a youth pastor. Once I get to know them and I get comfortable with them, to go and talk to a kid that's there for the first time, I don't even do well with that. Like I have to force myself to do those things.
Okay.
Once I get to know a kid and I get comfortable around a person, it's much easier for me to talk. But it's hard initially to have conversation, no matter the age of the person.
Well, okay, so you see that, and so you're obviously still putting yourself out there, so that's working for you. If you look at this on the I personality, since that's your dominant, tell me a few things that you know describes you.
Let's see. First one sticks out is childlike.
Childlike, so there you go.
Eye for nature and art, friendly. I get several of these. There are, as I look through the list, several that describe me. I think what was hard for me not to think of it is just the fact that it's hard for me to talk to people. But a lot of these, I'm very easygoing. I am definitely emotional. I do enjoy lying. Anyway.
So you can see, definitely see yourself in this eye. Okay. So you're telling me that affirms to you that that's your personality.
Yes.
Okay. And so now let's look at your spiritual gifts. And one thing that you will need to make sure when you are finished with the place class, these are in your possession. They don't take them home, okay? And so you will have these when they come for the coaching session, okay? And then when they leave the coaching session is when you'll get that. Because that will also help you, because you can look over their profile before they actually come into the coaching session,
And
okay?
there's places for you to make notes and comments
Yes.
as you go through the coaching session too.
Yes, and so your top spiritual gifts are giving, teaching, helps,
Knowledge.
wisdom, and knowledge, okay? So tell me about that. Where you're serving in the church, what do you think about those?
Well, no, I mean, one of our things we push and do a lot as far as under giving is, we're really big on Speed the Light and do a lot with that. But then we definitely in our own lives, I guess this could have went under experiences early in our marriage with giving. I was taught it growing up, and I was one of those types of kids that it was, if I understood it or if it was shown to me, then I just believed it, and that's really how I did. And so we hit a point where it was like, have money to live on the rest of the month or pay our tithes. And we didn't know the difference, and we were like, okay, well, we're just gonna pay tithes. And God gave the money back to us within like a matter of weeks, and we were like, oh. So it was definitely this point of like, okay, well, I'm never not giving again, like we're always gonna do that. And then even in aspects of, I definitely see this as far as just different areas where God has moved on my heart to give something away, or even if I really wanted it or liked it or different things like that, I didn't get attached easily to just things. I was willing to just let go of some of that. Teaching, I feel like that's really ends up being how I communicate more. Instead of much of a preaching style of communicating, I try to talk and explain and really help the students or the people I'm talking to. Really, my heart's walking away going, I really want you to understand what this means. Like I don't necessarily try to excite or get real loud, but I just really want to get this across. And some of that is because of the way things ministered to me the most. Like my uncle's style and some of that the way they spoke and preached or taught, like really hit home to me, and it just kind of, I didn't intentionally do it, but it's the way that I communicate.
Experience.
Yes, a life experience. And so one thing too, to kind of, if you know they're already plugged in an area, just from what Pastor Josh has told us, just from his personality and his top 5 gifts, he's already in line. You know, if we stopped there with his top 5 gifts and his personality. And so you just, so are you seeing the alignment through your personality and your spiritual gifts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you're doing what you're really passionate about doing.
Okay. And then see how God knew that you were going to be teaching, so he throws in wisdom, to help you there with that. I just think it's neat how that, he wired you exactly with what you need.
And knowledge and
And
values.
yes. Yes, and the giving too. So if we look at the abilities, your top ability, okay, is the R, and that's realistic,
Hands-on.
hands-on. And a lot of youth ministry is
Yeah.
hands-on, there you go. And then your second one is the S, social. Do you feel like you're social?
I guess it is kind of double-edged to an extent of that. I'm definitely shy on, like I was saying, kind of the initial side of things. But I guess I can see the side of things where I am more social once I get comfortable.
And see, and when we hear that word social, we think it's got to be all about the interaction.
Right.
But remember, social is also, you just enjoy being around people and working around people. Would you
That's
prefer?
definitely true.
Okay.
I don't like to be alone a lot. Like when it comes
Okay.
to doing things, I don't do, like, I mean, obviously, there's times where if I'm alone, I can get more stuff done, but when it comes to doing things, there's times where I'm like, I prefer to have people around.
And that's that social ability, and so that's again good considering you're in youth ministry. And then the investigative, where you have to research or study things or, you know, really kind of figure out way to solve problems and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that side of things too, even with the media stuff we have to do or the different things. I've kind of noticed in myself that I don't usually just, like, we've been looking at stage design stuff, and there are different aspects for the youth and children's room, and there was a design I really like, but I didn't understand, like just looking at it, I didn't know how to wire it, I didn't know how to set it up, and so instead of going, I don't really know how to do this, I just started watching videos or reading on how do you wire that up, how do you wire the power to it, how do we do that to be able to get a plan, and so then obviously was studying as far as to preach or the sermons and stuff. I usually try to dig into meanings and context, or even what it meant in the Greek, or just different stuff like that. So there's definitely times where I'm more investigative, and I was always that kid growing up that I didn't just wonder what the button did, I wanted to push it. Mom would be like, don't touch that.
And that's why, because of that investigative ability. Now, if we look here at the people that you're passionate to minister to, and then how you demonstrate passion, before we look at that, let's go here to a couple of your experiences of life. You said that you were a part of youth group that was big on discipleship, okay? So it was big on discipleship, and you feel like that was something that influenced you.
Yeah.
Okay, and so look here, you have a passion, you demonstrate passion by influencing, because you are influenced through something, and then
By teaching.
by
Yeah.
teaching.
Teaching, because you were taught, you were discipled. You weren't just, as you said a while ago, you weren't just excited about something. You were actually taught, and it was broken down for you so you could grasp it and get a hold of it. So that's what discipling is. It's not just about exciting people, but it's about helping them to really understand and grasp the concepts and the knowledge.
And so, and then you were influenced by ministry through relationship, okay? So, there's that word again.
Yeah.
Socializing. That's one way you demonstrate passion, by socializing. So right here, if you just, and the people groups will tell them so they'll know, you're passionate about ministering to youth. When did these life experiences happen?
During my, during the youth, during the youth group season, or just really that high school time, and then getting to be another part, and I don't know if college students comes into that, or just in the area of, sometimes it's a little easier with our older kids to really be able to connect and invest with them. But a lot of this happened when I was with my Uncle Ron as well, who was Chi Alpha for so many years.
Okay.
And so and when I lived with them or was doing stuff with them, he was always big on that people came to the house all the time, and we would sit around and just have discussion or talk. And so there was a lot of, it was, hey, we're gonna go grab lunch with these kids. Or when he even became a pastor, it was people from the church came over. Like, there was a lot of, and it was, there was just a lot of that ministry through relationship. It was, we got to know each other, and it was always, you always knew, even though we were just hanging out, at some point we were gonna start talking about the Bible or about God, and we were gonna kind of start having conversations that was through just, kind of that relationship, through discipleship, through relationship. That was always neat.
That's awesome, very awesome. And so with that, I don't know how long it took us, we should have timed it, but we just went, about 15 minutes. We just went through his whole profile and just showed him how things were connecting. And so then, if he were not already in the right place, then what we would do is we would take this list and, so you're passionate about the youth or the people that you're passionate about serving as youth, college students, and the young married. And so here in the Anthem student ministry needs, we see that they need life group leaders, small group leaders in the junior high and senior high area. And then sponsors to oversee Wednesday night pre-service in the media. And then sponsors gifted to pray with students during altar time. So if you look at these, do any of those three jump out to you, or, you know, that
Right.
seems more significant or more that you have a
Wait,
desire
don't
to
answer that
minister
yet.
to?
Okay, based on what we've done so far in these three areas, what do you think he would pick?
High school ministry.
Okay, so the junior high school life group. Okay, why do you think that?
Well, the high school, I think it would primarily be high school because he tends to gravitate towards more of the older youth.
Okay,
Has a more comfortable repertoire with them
okay, why the life group setting?
because it's communicative, it's
It's
social,
not-
it's.
Yeah.
More one-on-one.
Yes.
There you go. Okay,
Yes.
so you see how you begin to, and I'm telling you, you'll sit here and you'll watch TV and you'll start placing people on TV. Because you think I'm kidding you, but if you get into this, you will do it. I have to tell her, turn it off, turn it off,
We went to
turn it
Bass
off.
Pro to get something for the men's retreat, and this man was going for, he worked at Bass Pro, was going from one person, and I looked at Blake and I said, he is a high eye. I mean, he was loving his job and making everybody in the store feel so important, you know, you figured that out, and so, but,
So before he even picked, you kind of had an idea of where he would fit. And so there's some people that are going to have a little bit more of a struggle, so you're going to have to kind of direct.
Okay.
But others are going to know. They're going to look at that sheet, they're going to know exactly what they want to do. And it'll probably, you know, you'll be able to confirm it by what you've gone through as far as their place profile.
and so, and then, you know, because he likes the media part of it too, and being investigative, you could look at the media ministry needs and see maybe, you know, on this, to develop graphics. Could you develop graphics at your house?
Yes.
And could they email them?
No. I don't have internet.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
different story. But yeah,
Could
yes,
they
yes.
e- could they- But I mean, could they
Yes.
email them here to the church?
Yes.
Okay, so you could even look at, because this person likes the graphics and is investigative that way, this is something that with the graphics, they could spend an hour, 2 hours at home working on and send graphics that they've worked up. So that, you know, and they,
Save them on a thumb drive, bring them with you or something
Right.
like that.
Yes.
you know.
Mhm.
yes, and then you've got, you know, they just plugged into 2 places of ministry possibly, or they're exploring places that are totally different and
No conflict.
and won't take them completely out of church where they're never in a service
Right.
and never
Right.
getting poured into so that they can pour out.
There you go.
That's right. So does that make sense?
That's
Good. Did that help you? Okay. And this is the other way that you can do this consultation. I keep calling it consultation. They changed the coaching. You can actually start with their life experiences and who they're passionate about ministering to. And you can take them backwards through it. You can say, okay, so you have these life experiences. Oh, look, so you have a passion to minister to. So let's look at, you are passionate about teaching. Well, if we go over here to your spiritual gifts, first of all, you have that people personality, you know, that social personality. We could look at different traits that go, you know, with your spontaneous, you're talkative. Do you feel like are easygoing? You're expressive. So would you agree that those kinds of things in your personality would complement teaching?
Yeah.
Okay, so then look over here at your spiritual gifts. Well, looky here, you have a spiritual gift of teaching, and then you're passionate about teaching. So you can do it backwards as well. If they tell you, especially going backwards would be the quicker way to do it. especially if someone comes in and they're very reluctant and they tell you, I can only be here 30 minutes and then I gotta go. They're overwhelmed and really, you know, and so you wanna take them through this process and get them to see the connection as quickly as possible.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
With that?
What are some pointers as far as like, with the way the conversation goes, like, do you wanna, like, cause I know you're basically guiding them through it, but like, you really want them to talk, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yes.
you really want them to do the majority of the talking and sharing, and you're just
Yes.
trying to guide them through it.
Correct.
As they're
Yes.
discovering it for themselves, I guess.
Right, yes, and that's why you use the book, like
Mhm.
Susan did, and you say, okay, your highest personality is I, point out some things that you
Yeah.
really feel
That
like.
was right.
I know, I
These
wrote that down,
things-
I liked that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that, one, helped me figure out how to do it, and even helped me figuring this out, because like you said, you think about those types of personalities or whatever, like I looked at certain things thinking, this is just, like, I don't see how that really does fit me though, because I had already made up my mind on what that meant.
Yes.
And like,
Right.
that's what I thought when I saw that, not all of the other things that are
Many
encompassed by
people
that.
do that, they come in with a preconceived idea, especially, the one I see the most is if people score high in Pastor Shepherd, it freaks a lot of people out, and they're like, I would never get up there and preach.
Yeah.
Well, if you read the definition in the book for Pastor
Pastor.
Shepherd, it doesn't say anything about standing behind a pulpit and preaching. It talks about caring for a group of people. Oh, well, we do that all the time. We have people over at our house, we lead a small group, you're pastoring and shepherding.
I'll just turn it over to them.
So, you know, using the book and using the definitions and stuff like that is very helpful. It gets them talking. It helps confirm to them what they're seeing. And then as they pick out the things, that helps you know where they're really good at, you know, where they're really headed.
And something that I would do, and I would make a copy of this, if you want to take it, make a copy. On the, as far as the abilities go, like, he was thinking social again, that the social meant the limelight part, and the, you know, being at the center of attention and stuff. Well, on the ability, when we're talking about the social ability, it also means that you might not necessarily want to be the limelight or the center of the attention, but you thrive and work best with people. You might not even be interacting with them,
Right.
but you're in their presence, as opposed to being stuck in the media booth by yourself. Okay, so these, this list of calling cards, you can do it just like we did the personalities, tell me some things. It has each ability, and then it lists things that they might like to do under that ability, building things, fixing things. So, you know, you could, we could say, okay,
Pastor Josh, you have this social ability. Do you see anything on that list that might describe your social ability?
Bringing joy, I like to make people laugh. Probably creating trust, facilitating change, helping overcome obstacles, and some of that goes back to the experiences. I have people in my life that have pushed and helped me overcome a lot of fears and things like that. So I very much tend to lean to, like, we've got a few students that I know struggle with fears in areas, and they're just real scared to step out, and I sometimes feel the closest to them because I'm over there trying to cheer them on, going, you can do this, like, you
Okay.
know, so.
Okay, so what I'm saying is you can also, we'll get you a copy of this and you can make copies have for you, like if you're when you're taking someone through this process, this is another inroad to getting them to look at their abilities, just like we did the personality, and help them understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, obviously, you want to do women with women, guys with guys.
Mhm.
And don't double team on people unless you just absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is a little intimidating. Like Susan said, they come in a little bit nervous and anxious about it anyway.
Mhm.
And so if you double up on them, it almost, you know, it just heightens that,
Yeah.
so.
Do you suggest doing it at a table like this as opposed to like sitting at your desk and then across from your desk? And is that?
I
guess that
guess,
would
I
make
wouldn't
it a
do it
little
at your
bit
desk because
Yeah,
that
do
makes
it
it more
this-
intimidating too. I'd find a neutral room, you know, where you can just sit down at a table somewhere.
personal. Okay.
And something like, I don't, the ministers, if we had someone come in that just, like, we did have a lady, and her name was Susan, and she was like, I am going through this process simply because I have to, because it's required for membership. I mean, she told me that. And so she went ahead and did her coaching session, and when she came in, for the coaching session, she just up front told me, I'm not ready to get plugged into a ministry, and so I understand I'm not gonna be a member until I am. That's okay. I'm just here because I'm obeying the rules, you know, and going through the process. And so we had a ministry at the church that was called We Care Ministry, where they would, if we had people that were, they were in the hospital, or they were shut-ins, or they were sick or whatever, our ministry team, the We Care team, would send cards. That was part of that ministry. They'd mail a card, do a meal, or go visit at the hospital. Well, so she was a perfect fit for that with her profile, but also because she was so reluctant to, you know, to be plugged in ministry. And so I took her through the process and told her about the ministry anyway. And I said, you know, you have the profile that you would be great at sending cards and encouraging people, praying for them, letting them know you're praying for them, that kind of thing. And so she said, okay, no, thank you. Well, she got up and literally got to the door, and she turned around, she said, you mean I can send cards and that's ministry? And so I mean, you know, I didn't pressure her, but I showed her an option that was not threatening, but that we
Right.
needed. And, you know, when you think ministry shouldn't be threatening, but whatever, she was intimidated by the whole concept and was not ready. But she made the choice to step out there, and she was one of the best ones. I'm not kidding you. When she sent cards, she sent scriptures and prayers, and I mean, it was amazing.
Is it a common thing for your personality and your spiritual gifts and your abilities that the book says these are likely, these are unlikely, but they don't always match up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you've got life experiences, and then which affect how what you're passionate, how you demonstrate passion, and who you demonstrate passion towards. And so you're not just personality, you're not just spiritual gifts. So that's just 2 of 5
So
components.
they may not always mesh according to the book, the way
Right.
it describes it.
Right.